The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. From the upstate region of New York, we find ourselves at Watkins, Glen International. The high-speed road course that is a stock car dream is where we head to tonight. One of the most famed tracks, one of the tightest racing you'll see on a road course. And if you watched Tuesday night, you know we saw a thriller here, and I expect nothing less than that here tonight. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage of the Florida Estate Builders Area Pro Series. We are at round number 5 here at Watkins Glen International, and we're going to be doing this for 45 circuits around this road course. Going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth and in the production truck, and I got Hunter Sleppy with me to help me with the calls. I know, Hunter, you caught them with the big boys on Monday night in the next gen car, and I got to watch them in the trucks on Tuesday night. Well, now we got to split the difference. What's going to happen tonight here in these Xfinity cars?
Sorry, I'm still messing with my cat that I got on Thursday, but should be an interesting race for the Pro Series. Looking through, in the past, it's been usually caution-free. The only time we've had a yellow was back in Season 1, I believe, when we still had halfway yellows, but for the most part, should be clean and green. Usually the pole sitter tends to win here. Back in Season 1, Liam Sheen won. I think he led almost every single lap. James Scully won here in Season 4. But track position is going to be key, and for those that have EOLs, the same thing that happened Monday night and Tuesday night. You're going to be in a deep hole that you really can't climb out of without any yellows. Yeah, we had Brian Mercurio on Tuesday in the trucks. He did his best to pull off the first challenge, got up to P2, but had about 6.5 seconds of a gap that separated him from that ever elusive victory, of which was won by Jake Nichols, and he's going to try to do the weekend, well, two-thirds of the weekend sweep here. He's currently 4th on our practice sheet right now, and as you can see, Sebastian Marin, who is that a surprise to? Answer, absolutely nobody. Fastest here on the list, and as you pull up the lap tracker, only driver who broke that 12-second bracket there, Scioli, Sheen, Nichols, and Kerr, top 5 here in practice. Yeah, actually a bit of a surprise to see Liam Sheen here. He's been slated to schedule for a few area starts in the past, but really hasn't been able to participate in those starts, but he makes his return tonight. So far this is his only start in the Pro Series, so he'll be looking to go 2 for 2. Like I mentioned, he won here back in Season 1, but a lot has changed since then. You got names like Sebastian Marin, you mentioned. He's got a couple wins on the season. Scioli in 2nd place. Last time we were here in Season 4, he won the pole. Jake Nichols, he won Tuesday night's Chuck race, and then not to mention Logan Clampett. You got Nate Stewart as well. Also, Travis Beckner, who I think is a little bit of an underdog here. I thought he'd be up front more Monday night for the road course races. Usually he does well here. In the past, he had a 6 save, but I believe that was in the Truck Series. So, nevertheless, he's good on these road courses. A bit underrated for the talent that's in this field tonight. So, should be fun nonetheless to see how these guys shape up. Well,
Travis Beckner may have to put a little asterisk next to his name of being an underdog, or it might be quite the underdog, because he's actually on our EOL list, along with Brady Wellman, Zach Nichols, the 61 car of Daniel Day, and then Brad Slaughter in the 8. They will all be headed arrears here as we conclude our practice session. Of course, we already thanked everyone on PTR TV. Like and subscribe. We're only about 10 away from 1,600 subscribers on that side of the book. But of course, if you're watching on Twitch, thank you for doing that. Consider liking and following the Area iRacing Twitch. Catch the races on Tuesday and Thursday nights. Get your custom area emotes in the chat when you are a subscriber while earning double points, which you can redeem for free merch starting at $5 a month on the Twitch side of things if you consider liking and following over there. But now we have 10 minutes of qualifying, Hunter, which I still think is confined to 2 laps. But of course, we need a little bit more time to get ourselves around this road course.
Yeah, 2 laps for road courses because of how long the track is, and really there's going to be plenty of guys making errors. It is a road course. Not everyone is suitable for road course racing, but that's the beauty of this 2 laps. So if you mess up on your first lap, you have a second lap to kind of bounce back and correct your wrongdoings, as we see Bryce Senesac coming through. Like I mentioned, Monday night there's no yellows in that, but we did have some wrecks coming out of the carousel. That was really the big topic of conversation. Early on in the race, there was a big multi-car wreck, and then a little later on, towards the end of the race, Logan Clampett actually went upside down due to a lap car being in the way, and one thing led to another, and he couldn't stop wrecking until going through turn 1. I mean, his car was just that badly damaged from going upside down. And there's Travis Beckner, the official flagman for the Hendry County Motorsports Park, looking to take his green flag lap.
Yep, everybody's now starting their first lap. Of course, they will have to stay on the track. There are some rather semi-strict incident caps here at Watkins Glen incident limits. You can only see Beckner going there. You can only go so wide off that curb before you'll get a 1X. If you get a 1X, your lap is invalidated. Of course, going into the grass at any capacity, that'll also do it. Here entering the bus stop, you really have to nail those curbs there, Hunter. Those 3D curbs, they upset the car even more than they ever have, but you're not getting speed unless you're using them.
Yeah, they're kind of like your guidance for where you want to be on the racetrack. I mean, we'll see it right here on the exit of the carousel. Guys will go on the outside of that just because the momentum carries through. You lose more time when you're backing off and trying to stay on the curb rather than off. So we'll see here what Jeff Wright can do in the 48, picking up some speed going through the final turn.
Coming through that final corner right now is Mr. Wright, and I think he will be the first one to turn a lap, and that lap will be that there of a 15 flat. Andrew Payne just crossing the stripe, and he will get an 18.3. So it looks as though that 48, his lap did not count there. Again, just talking about those ever elusive off tracks. That's something that he must have done on that lap. Trying to see who else. We got the 55 about to cross. Just trying to follow some of these laps in as they fly in. Here's Opplinger at a 13.4. That should put him pretty high up on the provisional list. As Clampett, no surprise, top of the board.
Yeah, not a surprise there. Jeremy Miller, I think he did put a time down?
Yeah,
or
he had
did he not?
Something going on there. 44, he's going to be at EOL.
Sorry, I was going to say Zach Nichols was putting the time down, but he stopped on the track somewhere.
All right, what do we got here? The 18 of Nico Servideo. Well, that lap, he is surely going to need another one because that lap was nothing to speak of. Mike Venable, yeah, that lap ain't winning any awards, so he'll hopefully have a lap number 2 to take advantage of.
And it takes a while to get just through the warm-up lap here too. Sandra Nyhoff coming through 4th quick on the board. Something to keep an eye on for. Not really sure of his background on road courses, but qualifying's the indicator. He'll be up front for a good portion of it. Just Anna Sogak coming out of the carousel and into the final couple of corners.
Yeah, those last 2 corners, that is a pretty significant braking zone that a lot of these drivers will use. Casey Lacatus, he pulled off a Jimmy Johnson impression in the end of practice the other day. Not doing it here today. A little bit disappointing. We were hoping for a little bit of drama. Our flagman, Mr. Travis Beckner, coming through again those last couple corners. Left-hander, can't go too wide here because you get it pulled right back to the left side of the track for this 90-degree right-hander that puts you on to the pit straight. And let's see what Mr. Beckner can accomplish here. Looking for a 13 flat. Won't have that, but he'll have a pretty solid lap at a 43.
Yeah, good enough for 7th on the board. We go to Coda in a few weeks' time. That's the second road course of the season. He dominated there in the trucks and performed well there in the Pro Series. So we'll have to keep an eye in a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, Jake Nichols in the 73, bobbing and weaving through the bus stop and now into the carousel.
Yeah, we'll see what he is able to muster here. Again, won that race the other day. Here's a heavy hitter. Here's a new pole sitter. Talk about a heavy hitter. Sebastian Marin. Again, he was the only driver in practice to break that 12-second barrier, and he will back it as his lap up, and he will do it in qualifying. John Furness, someone who's always up in there in the top 10, and doing just that, exactly a 10th place starting spot.
Yeah, John Furness surprisingly well on road courses too. Not too many people know about that. Was close to winning at Mid-Ohio a few seasons back, so he put everyone on notice then. Josana Sogak, 33rd quick in the 88. Not sure if we'll have any go homers. I could double check with the admins, but Jeremy Miller finally coming through a 17th place time. That's good for him. And Joseph Burr coming through to complete his lap.
Yeah, I can see this one in the 15, so he will not be winning any awards with that. Looks like we still have a fair amount of guys out. Oh, someone he pulled the Jimmy Johnson impression, and that is surely going to be worthy of a Hendry County Motorsports Park replay.
Got the time down, might as well do your best Jimmy Johnson impression, and he did just that.
Yeah, over the tire wall there. Watkins Glen may have to invest in a second layer of tire walls there to amend themselves from those incidents here. Looks as though Sebastian Marin's still on circuit. I was going to say, is he trying to improve that flyer? Well, evidently not. He didn't need to, because all the heavy hitters essentially have gone at this point. Number 7 still on track. Scioli, is this a hot lap? It is. 13.2, basically a break even to what he had already run, so no improvement there.
Yeah, looking through, there's still some guys who have yet to put a time down, like Jeff Wright. I don't think he will.
That lap is not accurate. 55 seconds around Watkins Glen. I don't even think a Formula One car can do that.
Venable, Okresic, Kemp, Zach Nichols, and John Forbes Jr. They've yet to put a time down. I know Jeff Wright attempted one. Zach Nichols attempted one. Not sure about Kemp, Okresic. I think Venable tried as well. Didn't quite get anything there. Same with John Forbes Jr.
Now, Lemowski, he was really wide off the final corner, so I don't know if that one is going to count or not, but if even so, it didn't really matter. Mike Venable, that lap didn't count either. I was going to say that'd be the slowest lap by far, but it will not count here on the board. So while this finishes up, just a couple other things to talk about, and we did kind of talk about it a little bit in our opening. No cautions to speak of here, so we will be going green to checkered. No stage, no caution. Doesn't matter if there's 100 cars upside down in turn number 1. We will have to muscle our way green flag. And as you said there, Hunter, those EOL drivers heavily hindered, or even the fast guys who may have butchered their lap, heavily hindered here, have to get up on pure pace and strategy alone.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Travis Speckner, he's got a top 10 time, or actually no, just missed the top 10. He's 11th on the qualifying sheet, but he does have an EOL, so we'll have to start his race from the back of the field as well. One driver who's not here and is kind of on thin ice for the rest of the season really is Michael Mohammed. So after what happened at New Hampshire a few weeks back, he wound up with 8 total incident points. Now with the way the rec score is, 9+ points means you're disqualified for the remainder of the season. So he is 1 point below that. Anything between 6 to 8 points, you're on probation for the rest of the season and suspended for 1 week. Well, that 1 week was Indianapolis. I don't believe he's here tonight, but if he does return, he's on super thin ice and he can't get any incident points. Now, there is a way where you can have those incident points reduced, and that's by having a clean race, not being the cause of any yellows or butting your heads with anyone after the race. The admins are trying to work on that, but slowly but surely you can lose those points throughout the season. Now the probation will stay the same, but as far as those with EOLs, it's 2 to 3 rec score points. So Travis Speckner has 3, Brady Walleman has 3 if he's here, Zach Nichols has 2. So if Zach Nichols keeps it clean tonight after this week, he won't have any EOLs to deal with. The same with Brad Slaughter, and Rafe Slate has three actually. So actually he's suspended as well. So we'll have to worry about that next week at the Rock.
And we do have just but one DNQ here on the day, and that's going to be Nico Servideo. He was at a 15:38 on his qualifying lap back in 38th, and he will be packing it up and headed to what I believe is Rockingham next week, if memory does serve. But now we will have a little bit of a warm-up, 5 minutes rather, so that gives you basically enough time to get out of your stall, maybe run one heater, practice that green flag stop, which is going to be important because we will have it in with the 45 laps here today, Hunter. I mean, it's kind of a more or less a guaranteed, pit around halfway, but whether you pit a couple laps before or right at halfway, we saw on Tuesday night at least, that had a massive variance in where you came out position-wise on the track.
Yeah, for Cup on Monday, I was shocked seeing how many guys were debating whether to take tires or not. It was 50-50. Guys were complaining about not getting enough heat in the tires, or guys were complaining about getting too much heat in the tires racing around lap traffic, that playing a factor. So that will be something to worry about as the evening heads through. Also, one thing, the tires on the Pro Series cars, I believe they wear down just a little bit more than the Cup car.
I forgot about that. I forgot that on the iRacing perspective, that the road tire on the next gen is a little bit different because the trucks in the Xfinity car, which is what we have here today, the Goodyear rubber essentially melts off these tires. We saw fall off, upwards of almost 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap on Tuesday night. So I would expect that more to be the conditions rather than that concrete tire, I guess, they ran on Monday night.
Yeah, I would expect the same here. So track position is going to be very key. Also, whenever you come in and make your pit stop, if you want to pit early, trying to make up time then, or pit a little later and have some freshness in those tires towards the end of the run.
Exactly that. We'll see what those strategies are. But now we are getting ready to head down trackside for the starting lineup here for the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series starting lineup, brought to you by Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed or triple crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 29 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in the LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com. But what we need to do now is head down trackside for that starting lineup. Today's pole sitter, none other than the league dominator himself, the number 24 of Sebastian Marin, Logan Clampett. Never count that 42 out. He is overdue, and he'll be in second. Third, we'll find Jake Nichols, Tuesday night's winner, with Liam Sheen in the 92 car, founding in the fourth spot. The Australian native, Zach Kerr, in fifth. James Scioli in the sixth position. Seventh, we'll find Nate Stewart. He's been on a bad luck streak, looking to turn that around here today in seventh. Sander Nyhoff in eighth. And then rounding out our top 10, we'll find the likes of Justin Opplinger and then the Polish native, Dominik Lemowski.
Well, 11th is Travis Beckner, but that EOL is going to put him at the back. Instead, 12th will be John Furness. Next row will be Jonathan Evans, going to roll off 13th, and alongside him, another guy with the EOL, Brady Weileman, going to be 14th. At least that's what his qualifying time was. Philip Groner and Andrew Payne are going to move up a couple of spots because of those EOLs to Beckner and Weileman. Same with Jeremy Miller in 17th, Greg Mitchell in 18th, and then row behind, Matthew Bappy going to roll off 19th, and Blaze McKinney rounds out the top 20.
21st finds Mr. John Forbes Jr. and Daniel Day. He's rocking that PTR TV quarter panel. 23rd finds Alan Fox, David Weishart, not in the number 24th position. Braxton DeWeese with the big hat and the thumbs up. He is in 25th. Reese Schaefer, he will be 26th. 27th finds Matt Bell and Brody Falliker in 28th. And then rounding out our top 30 is going to be Connor Horn and then Brad Slaughter. He is an EOL. And I'm just going to let the rest of these scroll by there, only because there tends to be inaccuracies with the EOLs and the go or go homers. But at least these are the times as they hit the watch.
Yeah, that 38th Nico Servideo, the only DNQ of the race. So he'll be watching from afar wherever he may be in his sim setup. But going to be an interesting 45 laps. So very short race on paper, but the track about 2.4, 2.5 miles in length. yeah, we do have fixed ups, and green white checker's not going to be a little necessary, not at least this week. And I realized that next week Oliveira is off due to it being Easter week, so in 2 weeks' time we'll return to the Rock.
Yep, exactly that. And I know the Coke Series just put on a fabulous race there. I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but I scrolled a little bit through it, and the Rock put on a great race. And of course, the Rock coming back in the real world for the first time in over a decade, hosting top-tier NASCAR competition. In fact, I think it might even be the first live racing that it's really had since the repave. I can't really think of anything, but someone will correct me on that in chat. Other than that, we'll come down the back straightaway, and that pace car get one trek into the pits it'll make, and then we won't see it again for the rest of the day. So these guys will have to mind their P's and Q's, and more importantly, co-opetition there, Hunter. They gotta work with each other to get through the first lap and through a couple of those first tight turns and up the hill.
Yeah, turn one's going to be very key. I expect it to be somewhat chaotic because for some guys, that might be their only chance at passing guys throughout the day. Guys are going to be coming and going throughout the field, and those that are going are going to be, they're going to be looking for something to do, whether it's going to be making up time through the S's or dive bombing it through the bus stop or even turn 6. Turn 7 is going to be a very key spot for passing guys as well if you have a good enough run through turn 6. But it all matters how you go through turn 1, where these guys can fan out 3, sometimes even 4 wide.
Exactly that, depending how you get the run there off of the final corner. Some call it turn 7, some call it turn 11. We'll call it turn 7 here, at least until I say otherwise. And but to get that run down the hill, and how aggressive do you want to be on the binders? But that number 24 of Sebastian Marin, he has been the dominator, and he'll try to dominate the road here today. The Mustang pace car into the safety of the pit lane. Barney has that green flag in hand, and he's going to get waving it, and we're going to go turning left and right here in the Florida Estate Pro Series. Getting through turn 1 okay. A little bit of blinking action going on, but as we head up the hill for the first time here today, Hunter, not seeing any carnage. These guys playing nice with each other, but the S's tend to be very tight.
Yeah, spreading out a bit in this opening stint, or opening run of the race, I should say. No yellow's going to be handed out here. Just some butthurt feelings for the most part. They're getting a little squirrely coming out of the exit. Into the bus stop, though, mostly single file. Jonathan Evans door-to-door with Philip Groner through that part. Oh, and that was Evans going wide. They made contact, and Jonathan Evans hard into the wall. His day's done. Yeah,
that was a commentator's curse there. As soon as you brought the name up, he went off into that runoff space there. We'll take a look at the replay, the Hendry County Motorsports Park replay. 11 of Philip Groner to his inside, and side by side to the bus stop. Doesn't work too well. A little kiss to the wall. He used all that asphalt runoff. He'll have a good car, be able to carry on, but you can see how far he is behind the field.
Yeah, day not necessarily done as far as damage to the car, but he's got a long way to climb up through the rankings if he wants to have a shot at a good finish. Meanwhile, up here, Zach Kerr, Jake Nichols going at it for the 4th spot. Kerr with a little bit of a shorter arc through turn 1 and into turn 2. He'll have a good run, and Jake will have to back off and settle in line. But here comes James Scioli in the 7.
Yeah, Scioli he decided to back off, not go side by side through the S's. That used to be a big faux pas here at Watkins Glen back in the day. You ran single file up there just as you did turn 1 at Darlington. You did certain things you didn't do. It didn't become until about recently that they've got the cojones to run through the S's side by side. Scioli playing the cautious route, but falls back in line. He'll see what he can accomplish. Looking up front, Marin not pulling away, holding about a 0.3 of a second buffer over Logan Clampett. Little bit of slipstream here to play with, Hunter. Not too much, but the straightaways are long enough that if you can get a little bit of a run, it certainly won't hurt you towards the end of the straightaways.
Yeah, this is an interesting road course because of the super long straightaways. It's kind of like a super speedway road course hybrid, if you will. I mean, this straightaway here, not too long, but the backstretch long enough to where you can get some draft down before going into the bus stop, and it's still 3 car lengths of a gap between Sebastian Marin, who, by the way, he lost the points lead last week. That belongs at the moment to Zach Nichols, but with his EOL, not sure if that's going to stand the case. Meanwhile, Logan Clampett, he's up to 10th in the point standings, and he's going to want to climb a little bit higher if he wants to have a shot at possibly hoisting the virtual trophy tonight. Nate Stewart just needs a good run in that 05, 7th so far.
Yeah, I remember I want to say it was Loudon. It was a couple races. He was very, very upset due to circumstances that happened, took him out. He knows he kind of feels like he should have a win or two on the season thus far, has been shut out of that. But it did look like here on the telemetry, Logan Clampett did get through the carousel quite successfully. They're able to cut about a 10th off in the gap, and I'd say usually around 2/10 is about the limit of send it range, as I like to call it. He's just on that buffer there, but a little bit too early to make those aggressive moves. Liam Sheen just about a second or so back. We'll go back into the field and just try to focus on some things happening. We got Jeremy Miller in that number 30 car, and Greg Mitchell in the 2 right to his arrears, and a little wiggle from Miller off the final corner.
Yeah, it's 13th up for grabs, and Greg Mitchell almost saw the 30 lose it entirely in front of him. He'll have a little look going into turn 1. Won't be enough. Close to making contact. Now, I should point out, so you still get incident points if you cause some sort of incident during this race, if you're deemed at fault. It happened Monday, it happened Tuesday. Just because there's no yellows in this race doesn't mean everybody can go willy-nilly and start sending it into each other. So guys still have to be a little bit cautious while out there on the racetrack. And behind Greg Mitchell, that's Blaze McKinney looking to the inside, heading into the bus stop. Well, thought twice of it.
And one thing we didn't see on Tuesday, not sure if you saw it on Monday, that bus stop wall, very, very close to the racing line, very, very close to the edge of the racing groove there. And we were floored, Brad and I, that we did not see anybody hit that wall. We hope we don't, but at the same time, it's very, very easy just to overstep your boundaries and hit that wall. So that's something that we will play mind to here on the evening. Clampett up front has lost about 4/10 to Marin here. Is that a bad lap, or is that Marin just showing off here? I guess we will have to follow the trends and find out.
Yeah, starting with a little bit of a gap. There's McKinney again to the inside. This time they'll have a deep enough send for the 14th spot on Greg Mitchell, and Mitchell's going to put up a fight on corner exit. Meanwhile, Matthew Bappy in the 71 looking to stick his nose in, and he'll think twice of it and let them go into the S's single file.
Coming up through the S's right here. This is a difficult part because you got to switch back. There's a tunnel there. Well, that tunnel is why it narrows up so much through the S's, and then it opens up, and essentially the back straightaway, it's kind of the length of the back stretch itself plus that last corner. It literally lets you build the speed up, and there's that wall, and there's those curbs. You got to hop one, hop the other. Of course, in the real world, they did do some modifications to that entry bus stop here, kind of making it a little bit easier, I think anyway. It's more concrete there. We haven't had that addendum here into the sim yet, but we're 5 laps in. Again, I think we're going to be looking at pit stops right at halfway, Hunter, but again, I don't know what the exact fuel load is, but it'll be very interesting to see. Maybe somebody like Nate Stewart, he might feel like he has the speed and maybe have to use a little bit of strategy to overcome some of these positions that he can't get on track.
Yeah, Nate Stewart, he's still looking for his first top 10 of the season for the Pro Series. He finished 12th at both Homestead and Daytona. For the 2 races after that, 35th at New Hampshire, 38th at Indianapolis. So he's still looking to make up some ground here. He lost 8 spots last week in the points, so he's 22nd. Again, still looking for that first top 10. In a good spot to do that today, closing in on James Skyley. Meanwhile, further back in the field, got some nice close racing here between the 07.
It's Reese Schaefer in that 07. Brady Falliker in the Dubby car and ahead of him. Mike Venable, we saw him in qualifying. He was rather interesting to watch there. This is all, I think, mid-20s, and but everyone's going at it. And look at them kind of hitting the grass there. And it looks like the exit of the bus stop, I think we're actually kind of creating a grass groove there, as you can see. Nobody's really keeping all 4 on the track there, but you do whatever's fast. But you know what happens with that, Hunter? We put debris on the track. We know how dynamic that debris is here in iRacing. The more dirt you come on the track, the more slick things will become.
That's not good for the tires. It gets you a little bit squirrely. After about a few corners, they'll eventually clean off, but you're eventually going to run into that at some point today with how close the grass is to the racetrack. And further up front, the 11 of Philip Groner. He'll, well, he had to look to the inside of the 17 there, but to no avail. He's lost some track position from what I can see. David Weishart on the move up into 19th. He's the car behind, but yeah, after that contact with Jonathan Evans, he's dropped a few spots. Weishart on the climb up mentioned started down in 24th. He's climbed his way up to 19th.
Battle up front, starting to heat up again. Was wondering if Marin had a flyer or if Clampett had a bad lap. I'm going to sway in the direction that Clampett had a bad lap, because now he's back within 2/10. And I'll tell you, as the leader in this situation, I'd say it's a lot more difficult than being in second, because you're trying to nail your braking points, trying to nail your shift points. Here in this Xfinity car, very easy to wheel hop it. All the while looking in your mirror and just seeing someone who you know is an upper echelon sim racer just breathing down your back. It is so difficult.
Yeah, that previous time through, Clampett ran his best lap of the race. Marin not so much as we're looking through. Marin ran his best lap. It was a 1:13.1. I mentioned the lap prior. Clampett ran his fastest lap. That was a 1:13.9. So he's been saving the tires for quite some time. Seems like tires are starting to go away a bit for Marin. He's got his hands full coming down the backstretch.
And you could see, both of them in the grass there exiting the final S there. I saw Jeff Gordon spin out doing that in 2013, getting into that grass, exiting that corner. And look at Clampett dead sideways, shades of Marcos Ambrose and Keselowski through the bus stop, shades of Robbie Gordon and whoever Robbie Gordon had a battle with. I want to say it was actually Keselowski as well, but he'll fall back in line using all that runoff, exiting the carousel and making the run into 6th.
Yeah, Clampett's been closing in, and I think he got a little bit too close there and had to whoa up a bit, so that's why we saw him go a little bit squirrely there through the bus stop. Liam Sheen, in the meanwhile, is just watching this unfold, keeping a safe 1.6 seconds between himself and the two up front. Clampett is having a peek to the inside. Don't think he'll make the move into turn 1 yet, but trying to force the 24 into overdrive and a bit more through 1.
He just making him think, and that's sometimes that's all you need to do. And it was Kurt Busch and Robbie Gordon. Look up I want to say nationwide finish here. Robbie Gordon absolutely sent it in the bus stop. Fabulous finish here, but I think we're on the move here, and I think we're getting ready for a bus stop dive. If Clampett can get through the S. He was very, very loose there, but now here he comes. He's going to be patient. Thought he had the speed, thought he had the overspeed to do it. And they got to watch out. I don't know what the trigger is for the slowdown through the bus stop, but they must be testing it if it's even plausible.
They're testing it on the exit of the S's and through the bus stop as well. Clampett's he's just buying his time. He's just watching Marin overdrive his stuff a bit more. We saw how loose he was, or how tight he was going through the S's there, and there's a close-up shot of him closing in on that bumper. He's just, like I said, buying his time and just trying to force the 24 into overdrive his stuff just a bit more before he can rightfully make the move for the lead.
Of course, we don't have 5 gears here. Our wheelbases are a lot smaller, less downforce, so comparative to what he's used to driving in the next-gen car, this is actually much more of a battle and a little bit of a back bumper action there. Does it push him wide? Does it push him wide? Yes, it does. They're both slideways. Now he has the run. And will Marin give him the run through the S's, or will he fight for it? Answer is they're going to fight, go side by side, but I think Clampett's set up with the ideal line.
Yeah, and Marin's going to have a tight exit here going down the back straight. Didn't get into the grass that time, but something's got to give. They're going to be door-to-door going through the bus stop. Marin's going to back off. Clampett officially the new leader at Watkins Glen.
Now, there's certain times where getting past means, well, now I'm going to learn something from Clampett. Now I'm going to figure out what I did wrong. And I'll get a charge and I'll get right back at him. Other times it means smell you later, and Clampett's just going to drive off into the metaphorical sunset here. We'll see which of those is the case, but that little bit of battling allowed Liam Sheen to essentially gain 7/10 of a second. He was about 1.6, as you alluded to. Now he's sub 1 second, and not too far back is the Aussie, Zach Kerr. You know, those Aussies tend to race well here in stock cars on road courses, very akin to the V8 supercar. He is trying to throw his hat in this battle.
He's also trying to get his first top 5 of the season. So he's, looking through, he's 5th in the point standings. He's finished no worse than 17th. His best finish was 7th, both at Indianapolis and Homestead. Again, still looking for that first top 5. Could happen today. Meanwhile, John Furness has a handful. I believe that's Andrew Payne in the 70, giving him a little bit of trouble coming through turn 1.
Yes, it is, and they will drive their way up the S's. This is the battle for 11th. That includes Payne and McKinney. You can see the last lap. They were all essentially within 1/10 of a second and very slideways off the curb and up the hill there. And Payne will lose a bunch of time. Luckily, he didn't lose the car.
Yeah, fortunate to lose just one spot, not the car. I'll take a look at a replay presented by Hendry County Motorsports Park. It's coming through the back half of the S's here. Just clips that the wrong way. Yeah, well, that'll happen too. You get a little too close to the wall. Don't want to scrub off speed because, again, you lose any sort of momentum whatsoever going through the S's. It's going to hurt down the back straight.
Well, I guess he didn't hit the wall, but he just really got messed up on the curb there. But either way, not what he wanted, was going for 11th. Now he will be relegated back to the 13th spot. And you can just see this chain of cars behind him. This takes you back all the way, really, to, well, maybe not that far back, but what happened here? David Weishart.
John Forbes Jr. and David Weishart. Not sure if they had any sort of run-in, but it seemed like John Forbes Jr. had some help maybe from the two.
Yeah, that's Greg Mitchell with the dive, and yeah, he saved it. Just wadded them all up, but nobody went around. They all keep chugging.
Yeah, it looked like Ford was, a while back, he was trying to keep the two at bay, just sending it a bit too deep, and here comes 05 of Nate Stewart, closing in on Jake Nichols. That's 6th and 7th on the track. Meanwhile, 8th place Sander Nyhoff roaming around in the back, just watching the carnage unfold in front of him, or presumed to be carnage. That's what he's hoping for, so he can gain 2 spots instead of 1.
I swear, it's almost as if they're not even trying to stay on the track and the bus stop anymore. They're 2 wheels off on every sector of the circuit, and you know, it lets them do it. I'd be wondering what the incident counts are after this race. But again, if it's not something that we have to worry about, just something of note. Haven't really seen, as I'm going back, I think the only incident we really have had thus far, and I'm already struggling to remember who it was, Jonathan Evans. He was the one that kissed the barrier there in the bus stop, but I'm struggling. I'm going through all my data here, and I don't see anybody who's really had a legitimate wreck thus far, but it seems as though Jeff Wright might be trying to add to that, dead sideways.
Yeah, him and Brad Slaughter going at it. Remember, Slaughter started at the rear for the EOL that he had, so door-to-door with the 48 on track. This is for 33rd to 34th door-to-door going into turn 1. It's a little bit of a gaggle behind them, but they make it through turn 1 so far.
Exactly that. And if you're wondering up front, you can see on the telemetry on the ticker, we said, did Clampett, was Marin going to keep up with Clampett, or was Clampett going to drive away? If your guess was drive away, well, you would have been successful in that. Nate Stewart has been in 7th, trying to get Nichols, can't quite do it, as we are now 13 laps into today's race, and a good opportunity to bring up Elite Entertainment. Add some life to the party this spring with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. You can visit the link in the description for all your contact info. That is Elite Entertainment.
Well, 14 laps in, and I think the only car we have DNF'd so far is Connor O'Krezig in the 14. I'm not sure what the issue was with him, but he's been out for about 7-8 laps now. Ed Robertson is quite a bit ways back. Not sure if he had any excursions with anyone on track, but so far that's about it. Jonathan Evans is up to 38th after his lap 1 incident, and for the most part, everybody else is just chasing Logan Clampett.
That's indeed the case here, as Miller and Batby were having a little bit of a scrap there. This is for the mid-teens, as everybody pretty well spread out here. As you said, O'Krezig the only one out of the race, which, just bringing up the caboose here today, Mr. Ed Robertson. Give everybody their time in the sun. HelloFresh has gone astray here. We are now showing Blue Tip and Greenies and other sponsors. Try to give everybody their, yeah, Blue Tip, I think they're in my sponsor reel here too. So get everybody their time in the sun. Speaking of the leader, Wounded Warrior Project Chevrolet Camaro, Logan Clampett with Tiltify. Again, sometimes here on these road courses, I have a propensity to forget the leader because they're so far out there. They don't do anything. We don't follow them. But again, you can't forget about somebody who is just that good and is just that dominant.
Yeah, one of the only guys still running 114s on the track. He ran a 114.5 that last time through. Marin a 114.8. Everybody else is around the 115s, and mentioned one of the few that ran a 114 the last time through. The other driver, James Skyley, in the 7th. He's still in 5th. Still looking to get around Zach Kerr in the 12th. They're running in the 4th spot, but again, just buying his time. And will be interesting to see who makes the move first on the pit road, because you're not going to, well, you're not going to try to overcut the 42 and stay out a little longer than him as far as fuel's concerned. So someone's going to have to undercut him here and see if that works out. But Logan Clampett's still out front by over 2 seconds.
And you can see here, best lap related to the last lap is only actually about 0.6 of a second of fall off. His best lap wasn't actually that great, relative speaking. You can see Marin 0.8 of a second faster on his best lap comparative to Clampett, but now you can see the end result. So do you want to take that fastest lap award, or do you want to have that long run pace? I'm going to take that long run pace any day of the week.
It is a bonus point at the end of the day for fastest lap, but Marin's got 2 wins on his name to the season, so he was just focused on getting hitting the ground running, if you will. That's what the kids are saying nowadays. But back here, it's a little gaggle. There's Jonathan Evans right in front of Scioli, Jake Nichols, Nate Stewart, Sander Nyhoff closing in.
Just watch here. You can just watch this absolute abuse of track limits, which is always a gutting debate here on these road circuits with the NASCAR vehicles and course cutting limits. Case in point, what are they doing here in this carousel? But if there's asphalt, we run on it, and if there's grass, I mean, I guess we run on it too. Here we use it. If it makes the car go faster and it improves that stopwatch, we're going to use it here. That is the rules here of stock car racing. And again, Stewart just cannot find his way by that 73.
Just buying time with Jake Nichols, one of the guys who is the master of saving tires here. But again, he's got his hands full with the 05, so not sure how much tire saving he's going to have in the next few laps or so. But hello, there's a little gaggle here. McKinney, John Furness in the 28, and then Andrew Payne door-to-door going into 1.
We saw Payne have a little bit of a wiggle earlier and is trying. He was 13th, and now he's actually looking to 14th. He got dead sideways off of 1, trying to get the power down a little bit too aggressively. He'll retain himself in that 14th spot. John Forbes Jr. closing on in. This is again a good little battle of action here. And again, every time I look up on my telemetry chart, I keep seeing an excitement battle here on this 7th spot, and makes you wonder. I wonder if Nate Stewart is actually trying to make this pass, or is he just trying to make Nichols sweat? I'd imagine he's making the pass, but he doesn't seem too eager to step that car out of line at all.
Yeah, he's running just a little bit quicker than Nichols that last time through, but just buying his time. We'll probably see the 05 make his presence felt whenever he comes down pit road. I think that'll be the turning point for him and projecting himself inside the top 5, because he's close to doing so, but still a solid run in the 7th spot. A little peak, nothing much going in the 1.
That might just be that old competitor trick where you don't have the intent to make the pass, but you pull out of line just enough to make the guy in front of you wonder. And sometimes when he makes you wonder, it makes you make that mistake, makes you wheel hop driving a little bit too deep, and gives you a free pass essentially. I know I have tried exercising that option before, and I've been on both sides of it where I've made a mistake. Used to be a pretty good road racer if I was to toot my own horn, but for some reason I just can't do it anymore as they come through the bus stop. And I was going to say they adhered to track limits pretty well there, but again, that exit, we've just added about 2 feet to it in the grass.
Yeah, they're pushing the envelope of how far they can go off course through the bus stop, but it's become so dominant that we're seeing a line. You can see it on the left of the screen, just how much they're going off the track. There's a little bit of a line close to it, and then there's the Vector line that he just took way off.
Yep, and you get to see through. Oh, actually, this back group, they tend to stay on track there. That's Day. He just completely butchered it. But you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you'd be the one to ask more than me. I mean, there's no incident limit to drive through, to loss of points or anything like that applicable here.
I can go ahead and check on the rulebook, but I'm pretty sure that's not a concern. I'll look up on that.
There was one series that I drove in one year. I remember. I know it's a little off topic, but we went to Coda, and they didn't have an incident cap, and people were literally at about 110 incidents after the race, and afterwards they said, okay, we got to do something, because that was a little bit crazy. So, again, they're not doing anything crazy. It's just kind of a fun watch here, and surprisingly, the track hasn't got too dirty there, but we'll see what happens. But up front, again, Clampett now 3 seconds, and he's actually closing in on the back end of the field. Brad Slaughter, I'm not sure if he has pit already, because he was not running last. He actually did pit, as a matter of fact, Brad Slaughter. He is on the cusp of going a lap down, but he just finished his stop, still on the lead lap, barely just. Him and Brady Waleman, rather, respectfully.
As far from what I can tell, I don't believe... No, there's nothing for road courses, whether you have 4 incident points or 400 incident points. But the ones with more incident points are just looked down upon, as far as that's concerned.
Liam Sheen into the pits. He was running in 3rd, I believe it was, and he comes to the attention of his crew for 4 tires, fuel, and maybe a connectivity adjustment there. See what he can do. That moves everybody up 1 tentatively. Him being in 3rd makes you wonder if maybe Stewart, maybe Nichols, maybe Kerr, does this want to drag them into the pits? Our fall off isn't crazy, but it's still about a second, so that can add up over the course of 2, 3, 4 laps.
Yeah, and this is his first start of the season, so actually it's his 2nd career area start. Like I mentioned, the only other start he's had is back in season 1 at this track where he won, so quite literally his 2nd start ever in area, just trying to do something different, just going for wins. 3rd, 4th, 5th, not really going to cut it unless he plans to run the rest of the season. At that point, might as well go ahead. But there we see Jake Nichols. Not sure if he's making a pit stop. Oh, no, he just... Tires are going away. Nate Stewart's pouncing on it, and they'll move up to 5th.
Yeah, going around the outside here at Watkins Glen. That was not on my bingo card, but... here goes Travis Beckner on to Greg Mitchell, and that's 2 passes and 2 camera shots done on the outside lane there. So, yeah, that's something you don't see every day, but when drivers know that they're going to get past, they just, better to do it safely than risk a wreck. Here comes Jeremy Miller. Here comes Philip Groner to the attention of their crew just before halfway, trying to do that undercut strategy on the drivers that were in their immediate proximity.
Liam Sheen might have called it a night.
He did, yes. Liam Sheen is off track in the 41st spot, adds to the attention of Mike Venable and Connor Okresic. Now, I get roasted for this, Hunter, all the time, but it doesn't stop me from saying it. There's many reasons to quit a race. There's you got wrecked. There is technical issues. There's also the I'm bored. I don't want to say number 3. I don't, because everyone's going to yell at me and say there's a reason, but with some of these guys that are in for win or nothing, it does happen.
Yeah, that does happen. Oh boy, Matthew Bappy got in the grass before going through turn 7 there, but yeah, it could be a mixture of both. I mean, running 3rd, not really gaining anything to the front 2. I have to mention he's blinking in and out constantly. Not sure if the admins had a say in that. If the connection was that persistent, maybe they told him to pull off and call it a night that way, or until he can fix his connection. But at that point, with no yellows, you might as well just call it a night. But again, we saw Clampett. He's increased that lead dramatically. Oh boy, it's getting tight here through the yeses. That is the 57.
Connor Horn, McKinney, and Forbes just in front of this. Batby just behind it. They'll sort themselves out. But again, oh my God, they're so close to the wall. They're so close to the grass. They're so close to the dirt. They're so close to everything except the racetrack. Can't get over it. It's fun to watch, though.
The part of the track where you have fun and go off-roading for a little bit. Jake Nichols still trying to hold off the 76 of Sander Nyhoff. Boy, it seems like the later the run gets, he's coming into the pit road now. Skyley as well. Yeah, the later the run went, that 73 was just super sideways throughout the turn. So good time to come in, right actually just over halfway. Can't really split in the two, 45 and odd number, but this would be around the halfway point of this race. Still have yet to see Clampett, Marin, or Kerr come down pit road.
We will await them in due course here, as here comes the that was Reese Schaefer, and who else is that? The 90, Alan Fox. Travis Beckner coming into the attention of his crew. I'm a little surprised at Marin not coming in. I mean, I think he's probably waved the proverbial white flag on the race, but just to give yourself any chance, you know, maybe pit 2 laps early, gain a couple seconds if you feel like it's going to be a positive move for you. But either way, he has the gap behind him, and we will see how the guys around him, Scioli, where he can blend out. He blended out, Scioli did, in the 12th spot, 41 seconds off the lead.
I think Clampett's down pit road as well.
Yes, he is. And then here comes Marin. He's just going to play follow the leader. Here comes Zach Kerr. Here comes essentially everybody else to the attention of their crew. And the white car, it's Opplinger. And it brings up another point we haven't spoke of here, Hunter. Watkins Glen is in opposite pits from our oval perspective. We're pitting on the right side rather than the left, so you're pulling into the pit stop from the opposite direction. And you're also, if you're pitting on the back end of pit road, you're pitting downhill, which makes braking a little bit more difficult to judge.
Yeah, it's a little difficult, a little out of the norm. Coda, we won't have this issue, but Watkins Glen, it's the only one that really has this sort of predicament that it's in. But yeah, you still want to get on the pit road safely. Don't want to overcook your tires trying to stop in your box, and most importantly, you don't want to speed. Any sort of penalty whatsoever can ruin your chances of having a good finish. So we'll see what the rest of the guys here, like Nyhoff, Lukomsky, Connor Horn, Clampett, and Marin, have already come out of pit road, but the gap between the 42 and the 24, it's so big that it's almost like nothing even happened.
See what they are next to each other, so our interval graphic will be of justice here, and it looks like it's gone up by about a second or so. But Scioli did a bang-up job there, because now he has gotten direct access to the back bumper of Marin, and I'll pull up, let's see here, and interestingly enough, their pit road time's essentially identical, 14.6 with a 42.6 second lane time. All but equal, so that difference is the matter of, what was it, 1 lap difference that Scioli had in the pits over Marin allowed him to gain that time.
Yeah, and Clampett was slower in pit road than Sebastian Marin, which I'm a little shocked as to why the gap has grown between the two, but
longer pit stop and longer lane.
Yeah, longer everything, but still somehow increased the gap. Connor Horn, he is yet to pit, but he's going to get run down by Clampett in a lap or two if he stays out any longer. 66 done. There's the race leader, and behind is a fast charging Logan Clampett.
One thing to consider too, Hunter, with the lane times there, is that is just cone to cone. Of course, getting down to pit road speed, getting to the cone, that's not timed, but that is purely up to the driver. And then, of course, you're exiting the pits and you're running that inside runoff lane to merge at the exit of turn number 1. That's not counted on the stopwatch. That's purely up to the driver. So especially when you're on fresh tires, cold tires, that's certainly something that some drivers will have a little bit more of a head of steam on.
Indeed, as we're looking throughout the field, there's Jeff Wright in the 48 running in the 10th spot. And there's Connor Horn pitting.
Gives the lead back to Sebastian there, and you can see here in the rear deck lid, or rather to Clampett, excuse me, and you can see that purple car very far in the rear is about 5.5 seconds back. Reminds us to, talk about a couple more of our partners here, the High Banks podcast, just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Brad checked. He says they're up to episode 233 here, so my doc is slightly outdated. I don't know what episode 233 is about, but you can listen to it on Spotify, the High Banks podcast. My doc still says episode 228, and someone said that was your job, so I just had to,
whoopsie daisy.
Just had to post that, but in the High Banks podcast, Brad, I haven't got to listen to it, but Brad said he had a good listen to it up to work one day, and he said it was certainly an enjoyable experience, so check that out on Spotify.
been more of an enjoyable experience than on track for him. Mentioned the EOL. He's actually up to 23rd. Not too bad, but that EOL hurting the 8 a little bit more. Probably could have had a little more track position, but boy, the 70 went wide there, letting the teammate of Reese Schaefer go in the 07.
Yeah, Payne is now 1 lap down, and remember, he was about 13th, 14th, something like that. And now he has gone all the way back to 1 lap down in the 40th spot. Last car currently running here on the racetrack. Seeing if anybody else is still on the racetrack. Nope, everybody has made their pit stops at this point. So things have pretty much stabilized out, and we will wait to see. Again, even though we're pretty spaced out, you can never write anything off here at a road course. Anybody can make a mistake at any time, whether it be downshifting. We've all done it once. We've downshifted twice at one time, blew the motor, spun it out. You make too much of a mistake hopping a curb. You hit some of the famous blue Armco here at Watkins Glen. Even if the race seems in control, one little slip up will cost it.
Yeah, still with 19 laps remaining, you still want to go and get the best finish possible for your car, but you still want to just keep it on the limits. Don't want to go too far off and risk damaging your car or ruining your finish. So still got to keep that in mind, as Dominic Lukomsky, after his pit stop, still 13th on the track, as Matthew Bappy in front of him. Looks like it. Yeah, that's the 12th spot. Philip Groner behind, and then not too far behind him, David Weishart slowly but surely creeping inside the top 15.
Yeah, Weishart, I think he is up about plus 10 on the day. So, again, pretty impressive for him. There goes Lukomsky going underneath Bappy. That puts that number 66 tentatively into that 12th position, question mark. And no, he will clear it. And again, that conga line behind, still pretty impressive. Again, Weishart, he is up about 10 spots on the day. Furness, he's been there. Zach Nichols up 7. He's up to 17th. He was one of our EOL drivers, so that's up. The graphic won't reflect it, but basically up 20 on the day, so that's pretty impressive for him.
Solid finish for, or solid position so far for him. We'll have to see where he finishes, but definitely going to lose the points lead, especially with the way Marin's running. Logan Clamp as well. Zach Kerr, not too far back. He's running 4th, but 3rd. That is James Scioli. He's 2nd up, so maybe Scioli will be the points leader after this one's over.
Yeah, may be the case here. Again, leading into the off week and then heading into the Rockingham Speedway. Are we doing a triple header at Rockingham, or are we split up next week? I don't quite have the scheduled doc on me, but I know at least 2 of the series are there.
I believe all of the series are going to the Rock.
Negative. Our Cup Series will actually be... Oh, but no, pardon me. The Cup Series is actually running next week, so they will be currently on schedule consecutively. You'll be headed to North Wilkesboro Speedway. They will be on the 14th. You can catch that on the IDK Player YouTube channel. And then we will be live here on PTR TV on the 22nd, 24th at Rockingham, both in the trucks and the Area Pro Series. Which reminds me, speaking of the area, I mean, that is our series, but always take a look at shopareairacing.com. Fans can visit shop.areairacing.com for high quality merchandise at low prices. Shop from over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, Champion brand clothing, and more area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, and better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com.
All right, still got 16 laps to go. Still some good battles here. John Forbes Jr. trying to crack the top 10 with Jeremy Miller holding that spot. Mentioned Lukomsky a couple laps ago. Bappy, they've closed in, and it's a conga line behind those guys. So top 10 spots still up for grabs.
See our whiplash telemetry here. Miller not getting the run off of turn number 1, goes very wide, and John Forbes will say hello, thank you for the spot. He gets the appropriate one that will put him into that ever elusive top 10. And soon to follow is Lukomsky in 12th. It looks like Miller may be headed into the wrong direction, maybe losing that grip on the exits of the corners here. Very, very easy to do, as again through our famed bus stop. And Miller I mean, we've talked about Butcher in the bus stop. That is one of our massive cases of it. He got all 4 wheels there. That may even be a slowdown.
That was a big one there for the 30. He's going to lose that top 10 spot for the meantime. He's got the 66 all over his bumper. And not too far back, Philip Groner's got his hands full with some guys going side by side back there. But right around John Furness and Connor Horn.
Yep, Connor Horn there. He was a DNQ on Tuesday night in the trucks, but having a decent day here in the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series. I always say that broadcasters tend to be slow drivers. Not just saying it in a joking way when he didn't DNQ the other day, but making us broadcasters proud here today. Running pretty decently in a very, very astute crowd here in area. But there goes Jeremy Miller making the pass on Batby. Batby slowly falling in arrears here to the back of the field, but mid-teens. But I guess now would be as good of a time as ever. Not something we do too often, but at the road course seems like a good enough time to do it. Let's do a little bit of a through the field here, if we shall. Logan Clampett is our race leader. We got Sebastian Marin in second, James Scioli in third. Zach Kerr may have kissed the safer barrier there. He is in fourth. Nate Stewart in fifth. Jake Nichols, not going to go back-to-back trucks in Xfinity here. He's in sixth. Sander Nyhoff in seventh. Justin Opplinger in eighth. And then we have John Forbes in ninth and Matthew Bell in 10th. We'll take off the back half of it there, Hunter.
Yeah, Lukovsky holding that 10th spot strong. So, well, actually 11th. He was 10th at the beginning of this race. And Miller might be losing 12th to Matthew Batby. Closing in, and he'll complete the pass. So, move the 71 up a spot. The 30 down one. And Philip Groner trying to move up a couple more spots. Got a good group of the 609 camp here. So Connor Horn closing in, running in the 15th spot. 16th is John Furness. He's dropped a little bit throughout the race. Zach Nichols, he had the EOL, so he's climbed all the way up to 17th. Blaze McKinney, he's been around the 15th, 20th range. He's 18th at the moment. David Weishart, currently 19th, so he's dropped a few spots since the last time we saw him. And Travis Beckner on the downward spiral in 20th.
All right, and then next group of drivers here, we got Braxton DeWeese in 21st, Brady Wellman in 22nd, Reese Schaefer, Tiltify Camaro in 23rd, 24th we'll find Brad Slaughter, he was an EOL, Greg Mitchell in 25th, Alan Fox in 26th, Matt Kemp in 27th, Brody Falliker in 28th, Bryce Senesac 29th, and then our top 30 will round out with Justin Anisogak. And just to round things out very quickly, Francis Hamilton in 31st, Jeff Wright in 32nd. Things have gone astray for him, evidently. Daniel Day in 33rd, Casey Lakatis in the 34th spot. Then we got Garrett Grant, we got Jimmy Cocker, we got Joseph Berg, and last on the racetrack is 38th, Mr. Ed Robertson.
Yeah, getting to the closing stages of this one. Clampett, the lead has been about the same. 6 seconds over Sebastian Marin, and Marin not facing too much from the 7 of Scioli, and looks like Jonathan Evans had another excursion here.
Yeah, something had happened to him that we missed, but I got a trigger from it on my back-end software. This was about lap number 27. He pulled off to the inside there on the back straightaway, our Hendry County Motorsports Park replay. And did he just, did he just say, "Oh, smell you later"? I can't quite tell, but it appears as such.
Yeah, it's been a race to forget for that 26, so see if Rockingham has any better intentions for him. But see the 11 of Groner dropping down low, right around 15th on the track. He's got a handful of Jonathan Evans to his outside, and even behind them, actually he's pulling off to the side as well, letting everybody go.
Yeah, this has been a very cordial race here today. I don't want to say I'm impressed, because it's almost to be expected, especially of a field of this echelon of drivers. But yeah, these guys have been very clean. Not very much to speak of in terms of incidents. One other potential incident is, this is what happened to Andrew Payne. an impressive job to keep it off of all of the barriers there, but got it sideways there, and that's why he went from mid-teens to mid-30s.
Yeah, bad there. Good here for Zach Kerr, basically where he's been all day, inside the top 5, clean in 4th. No one really pressuring him from behind, and this could be a good day for Nate Stewart. He's still yet to finish inside the top 10, let alone possibly a top 5 on the season, so that would be perfect for the 05. Build some confidence going in the right direction heading into the off week. As far as Jake Nichols is concerned, solid run in the 6th spot, but really good run for Sander Nyhoff in the 76. Very solid showing there, and I haven't really talked too much about Justin Opplinger today. He's been quiet in 8th, but sometimes a quiet day is a good day.
Yeah, exactly that on David Weishart Racing. And sometimes if we don't speak about you, you don't do anything wrong. You just kind of run your pace and do your thing. You know, sometimes that's the best thing. I mean, we talk about the guys who win. We talk about the guys who wreck. Sometimes the guys in the middle, the sleeper picks, you know, just get a quiet top 10. Ain't nobody going to shout about that. We'll shout about this. Whaleman and the 13 of Braxton DeWeese going side by side. And we talked about a clean race. Rare incident. And we caught it live.
07 Reese Schaefer going off and avoiding the carnage.
Check it out from our replay. We'll go top down cam if the trees will allow us to. And you could hop the curb. Well, actually, I don't even think that 13 hopped the curb. I think he just completely missed the bus stop here. We'll try to get a separate perspective of it. Yeah, he just missed the bus stop entirely. And then when he got back onto the track, that's where the 39 was stationed. And a couple guys go well off track. 39 of Whaleman, he did get hit directly in the right front wheel, so that may be a little concern for him.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that is ruled as a racing incident or something else. There could still be incident points given out despite there being no yellows for road courses this season. We'll have another one in week 11 at COTA, so got to keep that in mind a few weeks down the road. But Matthew Bell of the 9's been quiet race for him. See the 66 of Komsky there. Solid 10th place spot up for grabs.
Yeah. Just behind that, the teens have just been where the spots are at right now. 87 of Blaze McKinney and Zach Nichols. Remember, as I said earlier, Zach Nichols, one of those EOL drivers. He has maneuvered his way quite decently through the field here, as we are now sub 10 laps to go, 9 coming to 8 to be very specific here. But now he's looking outside of John Furness here, maybe looking for a crossover, trying to get a better run off a 7 to lead him down the front straightaway here, but that will not come into fruition. Or will it? Yes, it will. He'll dive to the inside and see what happens in 1.
15th up for grabs here. The 44 going to send it low into 1. Blaze McKinney trying to go a little lower. Furness will lose 1 spot. He might lose 2 here as McKinney looks to clear him for 16th. Meanwhile, up in the 2nd spot's about to be up for grabs. Marin is losing time to Clampett. Scioli is gaining time. He's been closing in the last half lap or so from about 8/10 down to about 4 to really close the gap, and he might make the move going into 1 here.
Yeah, fastest car on the track, it appeared last time by. Actually, Nate Stewart in the 5th spot, but certainly the 3rd place car, Scioli, faster than Clampett last time around. Let's see if it updates. Crossing the stripe, not so much, but now he has that little bit of distraction in front of him, maybe a little bit of dirty air wash from Marin that will impede him, but he's close enough now that the 24 certainly has to pay attention to the rear view. 24 had the same circumstance early in the race. Remember the first 10 or so laps, he had Clampett breathing down his chops, and eventually Clampett managed to get by. But let's see if Marin has enough to hold on for 8 more circuits here. Just to hold off Scioli.
Not sure if that's going to happen. He's the only one inside the top 5 running a 115. Everybody else is still running 114s, including the leader, Logan Clampett. Comfortable 7 seconds in front, just navigating through lap cars as need be.
Who was that? That was Jimmy Cocker, who went a lap down. No worry of free passes, of course. Lack there of cautions. Casey Lakatis in the 50. And these PTR TV cars, always on my favorite list here. He is leading things down, and then there's actually a as a, stealing Matt Malone's word, the gaggle of cars, early mid-30s. This is about 4 cars in a train, and Clampett will catch them at about probably 2 laps or so.
Yeah, this will be interesting because, again, even though they're lap cars, they're still battling for position on track themselves. They're not going to want to back down and let everybody else go around, losing spots on the track. So it will be interesting seeing how Clampett catching them impacts their battles. This is 33rd on the track going through, and Francis Hamilton up the road in 32nd.
Now, Jeff Wright, I mean, he's been all over the place today. I feel like he's been upwards, his highest spot maybe in the mid-teens, but now all the way back here in the the mid-30s rather. But to bring up another one of our partners here today, rickshotsauce.com. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made in South Florida. Try Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, and South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series. See which driver will take home that $100 prize for the highest finishing rookie. Catch that on Monday nights. I don't know who the battle winner is right now, but you can stay true to that there on Mondays with Hunter and John Ramos there on IDK Player. But here comes Nichols looking underneath Jeremy Miller. Miller overreacts, goes completely in the grass, and now the door opens, entering the carousel, and he shuts it. Some contact, bumper action, the pusher pushing the pusher, pushing the pushy.
Yeah, this is a crazy battle for 14th on track. Miller going a bit too wide, almost got to the Armco barrier there. He's going to lose 1 spot, he might lose 2. It's going to be the Zach Nichols on the outside, but he'll try to send it in. McKinney close to making contact, and then Furness and Gruner just watching the carnage go in front of him.
Yeah, Miller, as you said, that's a wall that we traditionally don't see drivers hit, but he was just about there, and he is not going down without a fight, battling side by side with Blaze McKinney, but he's going to have to use the outside entering turn 1, not advantageous. Furness, he saw an opening, and he says, hey, I may as well put a slide in for it, but let's see if the 30 can get the bite off of 1. He will not, so that pass will come into fruition here. And going up front, Scioli is now within Sebastian Range's diving range here, sub 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, 24 going a bit wide there through 6, through 7. 7's got a bit of a better reach. 24 going a little bit wide using the curbing. No harm, no foul there, but it's going to be another 5 laps or so before this one's said and done. And really, who'll be second, who'll be third. It's neck and neck. They're closing in on lap traffic, so that might make things a little more exciting.
Yeah, those lap cars in the mix. I believe that is Lakatos and Cocker, Jimmy Cocker. Yes, so I think it is maybe, but we'll find out in a little bit's time here. But we're coming down 5 laps to go, only about 5.5, 6 minutes worth of action here left here at Watkins Glen International for round 5 of the Florida Estate Builders Area Pro Series. Logan Clampett has dominated the race. Sebastian Marin led the opening X number of laps, 9 laps, and outside of just a green flag pit cycle, this race has been utterly dominated by that number 42 of Logan Clampett, as now he is into that gaggle that we just spoke of. I mean, I expect a lot of respectful, cordial, gentleman-like moves to help him get through this, but as you said, those guys want those positions.
Yeah, everything's still up for grabs here. 4 to go. Clampett, he's got a good gaggle in front of him going through turn 1. Not sure if any are really going to back off here. Some might, but would expect most not to. Again, these are still spots on track no matter how far back they are. Right around the 33rd, about 30th through 34th.
Clampett just now getting there. I'd suspect he'll probably be there by the chute or perhaps maybe turn 1 of the next lap, depending how aggressive these guys get through the bus stop. And say the guys mid-30s, they have been the most cordial with the bus stop, staying on circuit for most of it rather than pushing the boundaries a little bit further. But speaking of pushing boundaries, rather than Scioli getting second on Marin, we actually have Zach Kerr going for the second spot. Something must have happened to Scioli that cost him a significant amount of time, and now that 12 car is in the mix.
Yeah, he might lose the podium spot here, which I really didn't think would be up for grabs, at least not him. I thought at the rate it was going, it would be the 24 of Marin, but he's held his own. Now Scioli's got to hold on for the next handful of laps to keep that podium spot. Again, this is to talk to us after the race. Who wants it more, Scioli or Zach Kerr? Or maybe Nate Stewart closing in on this battle.
Yeah, Nate Stewart has been out of the top 10 out of the top 5. He's been like 6th or 7th for a majority of the race, but now he has that top 5. And I'll tell you, as a racer, there's a big difference in the stat sheet between a top 10 and a top 5. If you can get that top 5 and check off both boxes, certainly that is going to make you a little bit happier. And now we're coming about 2.5 circuits left to go, and at this point I feel as though Clampett is not in a rush, which he doesn't have reason to be up 7.5 seconds. I thought he was going to catch these guys a while ago, but he has maybe backed the pace off a little bit, says, hey, I don't need to pass them, it's not urgent, and I'll just take my sweet time unless it gets tight.
Yeah, really no envelope needing to be pressed here, as still 7 seconds. I mean, can shave a couple seconds off if you really wanted to. Don't need to push anything whatsoever. Let the battle unfold in front, and if there's carnage to go, just swerve away from it. As Scioli still has Zach Kerr on his bumper. Nate Stewart's not as close as initially appeared, but still some great battles even in front of the leader. All these guys fighting for 29th through 33rd.
Exactly that. And of course, today our replays have been brought to you by Hendry County Motorsports Park. You can join them Saturday, April 12th. $1,000 to win. Outlaw 4 Spectacular and more. $20 for tickets. Kids age 5 and under are free. You can get a family of 4-pack, $25. Southernmost dirt track in America, Houston, Florida. Visit henrycounty.com. They've sponsored the very few amount of replays we've had to use here today, due to the cleanliness of this race. But we're coming down what will be the white flag. Clampett's lead has gone down about 1.5 seconds, but as we said, he is not in much of a rush, no rush at all to tackle that battle in front, as Jeff Wright about runs out of racetrack. Zach Kerr still struggling to get by Scioli there for a third.
Yeah, it'll be a fun battle for that third spot on the final lap, and one lap car letting Logan Clampett go, and there's about 6 others in front of him, or 5 I should say, that are still nose to tail. And even after Clampett crosses the start-finish line, they'll still have another lap to go. One more time from Watkins Glen.
Yeah, still 7 more corners, nothing to be guaranteed yet. Jeff Gordon lost a race here on the white flag lap in the past here at the Watkins Glen Raceway. But coming up the hill for the final time here, 5.3 seconds. So again, that lead is just disintegrating, but still no concern here about a third of the way through the lap.
Yeah, he's working down the backstretch for the final time, seeing some move being made by the 48 of Jeff Wright to no avail. So single file through the bus stop, mostly calm there. Again, third still up for grabs, but we'll have to see the very end who gets the better of that spot, whether it's Scioli or Zach Kerr. And for the moment, it's still Scioli through the carousel. Yeah,
that was the best chance opportunity there, and Kerr appeared to just go a little bit too aggressively here. He'll have one more opportunity really heading into 6, but coming through 6 where we are right now, the penultimate corner. Again, big gaggle of lappers in front. It will interfere 0%. Coming through the final corner here, Logan Clampett has had some bad luck. Finally, it goes his way. He's going to win on the road. Dominating effort. Clampett gets the win here at the Glen.
Yeah, then coming out of turn 7, Scioli's going to hold on for that podium spot. Just up the road, it will be Sebastian Marin in second. Solid 4th place finish for Zach Kerr. And then his first top 5 finish of the season, Nate Stewart in the 05.
And you can see the big gap here as everybody finishes their lap. We do have a lot of time to be had. This is a live battle for position. Actually, this is 27th and 28th. That's Alan Fox and Brad Slaughter. Again, you wouldn't know by the way they're going at it, but this is a live battle. These guys are still going at it, still have some other live battles here. Travis Beckner and Philip Groner. This was 17th and 18th. That will finish as it appeared. These guys all finishing things up here, and Logan Clampett just parking it in turn number 1, getting ready for a little bit of celebratory efforts here, as he did a fabulous job here at Watkins Glen. And again, nice quick race, and let's wrap things up there, Hunter. Let's give our final rundown of results here from the road course.
Yeah, let's do that. Logan Clampett, the race winner, dominating effort, and coming up just short in second, Sebastian Marin. Scioli holding on to that third place spot. Zach Kerr solid fourth, and then first top 5 finish of the season for Nate Stewart's first top 10 as well, coming home in 5th. Jake Nichols 6th, Sander Nyhoff 7th, Justin Opplinger quiet 8th, John Forbes Jr. getting inside the top 10, same with Connor Horn at the very end.
All right, 11th spot will find Batme, and then Matthew Bell in 12th, so 11th and 12th found by the Mats. Zach Nichols went from an EOL up to 13th. Dominic Lukomsky, I keep dyslexing that. Lukomsky in 14th. Blaze McKinney 15th. John Furness 16th. Then we have Groner, Beckner, Weishart, and Miller rounding out our top 20.
Yeah, just missing on that top 20 was Reese Schaefer in the 07. Coming home 21st, Brady Walleman 22nd. The EOL didn't help him at all. Braxton DeWeese 23rd, Falker 24th. 25th is Greg Mitchell. Matt Kemp 26th. Brad Slaughter holds on to 27th from Alan Fox, who finishes 28th. Santa Sack 29th, and Anna Sogak 30th.
And just rounding out the last few pages of results here. Daniel Day 31st, Francis Hamilton, Jeff Wright, Jimmy Cocker 34th, Casey Lacadis 35th, Garrett Grant, Ed Robertson, Joseph Berg 38th. And Andrew Payne and Jonathan Evans, they both had some issues. One of the very few to have on-track issues here today. Liam Sheen pulled it in the pits early. Venable and Okresic out very early in the event. So we'll go down and see, Hunter, if you can locate our race winner here. And I have found him. He's hanging out with his Lucky Ducks folks, and he is a lucky duck, because he's going to get to speak to you in Victory Circle.
Coming in with Logan Clampett here, back-to-back wins for Logan. I mean, you've done it on the Cup side already. You've done it twice here in the Pro Series, a dominating effort. Take us through your initial thoughts on the early run, because at one point you did have to catch Sebastian Marin, and it seemed like you were just playing your cards right and just letting him try to overdrive his stuff a little bit. But take me through your initial thoughts on the first run.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun battling Sebastian there. Definitely tried my best to try and keep up with him and save tires. So yeah, just try to drive the car and try to drive it conservatively while going fast, and it was a really fun race.
Yeah, nice to go caution-free, dominating effort, 35 of 45 led. We head into the off week for the Pro Series, so we'll talk about the Rock in a little bit. But next week, as far as the Cup side of things, we go to North Wilkesboro. Early thoughts on that, and then heading back to Rockingham for the Pro Series.
Yeah, North Wilkesboro will be interesting. I haven't ran there in a long time. And then Rockingham, we just ran there for the Coke Series, but this car is different, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better. Not the best there, but hopefully we can do pretty good.
All right, well, he'll be up Monday night for Cup in North Wilkesboro, but for the meantime, in the Pro Series, he'll be off until then for Rockingham. Congrats on the win, Logan, back-to-back.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, and that is our victory interview brought to you by Victory Fuel. Celebrate tonight's win with Victory Fuel. Choose from caffeine-free flavors like Throttle Punch, Purple Potion, or Lucky Lemon. Each can packed with electrolytes and filled with vitamins and kid-friendly. Get 10% off your order with area iRacing as the promo code at checkout. And now I've caught up with our second place finisher of Mr. Sebastian Marin here. We'll get him queued on up. All right, we got our second place finisher here today. Sebastian got the pole, held on to a very, very aggressively fast Logan Clampett for 10 laps, but eventually he ended up being too much, and then he just drove off yonder. But second, nothing to scoff at, man. What did you need, or where did he have it that you didn't?
Oh man, yeah, I needed a little bit more through the S's and the bus stop. He just had a bit more more speed through there consistently wise, at least, because obviously in qualifying I kind of edged him out, but I knew he was going to be really good in the race, so I felt like it was going to be a matter of time before he showed a nose or got a run, which eventually he did. I just was starting to miss my marks here and there, and just kind of destroyed the front tires, so I just didn't have that front turn that he did, so he just drove by, and then at that point it was just survival mode, just kind of run for second place, because I knew I wasn't going to catch him, so I was just trying to keep myself in check, trying to not make too many mistakes. And then James there at the end, I mean, a hard charge. I thought he was going to get me for sure, and then obviously that incident in turn 1 kind of happened, and it kind of gave me some breathing room, because besides that I felt like he would have had a shot at me. So overall, decent day. A little upset with a lot of the mistakes that I made, but I'll take a P2 on a road course behind Clamp any day of the week. So
yeah, you know you're having a bang-up season, man, when a second-place finish is just an okay run. So obviously you've been cracking the whip this season with some great runs, and we take a week off and we head to The Rock for the next race in the Florida State Builders Pro Series. I know Coke just went there. We saw a thrilling race there, and these Xfinity cars put on a different show. So what can you expect there in 2 weeks' time?
To be honest, I don't know what to expect. I've barely run these cars there. It'll probably look a little similar to the Coke race. Maybe the top will be quite dominant, especially in 3 and 4. So track position is going to be key, because passing is going to be hard. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about that track. I know Clamp doesn't really tend to enjoy that track, so maybe that's a weak point for him next time we race. So I don't know. All I know is that track position is going to be key, passing is going to be hard, so quality is going to be very important for sure.
All right, and luckily you got an extra week to work on it, man. So congrats on the solid effort here today, and we'll catch you then.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
And now, unfortunately, we missed that incident, but Hunter, perhaps you can see what happened to Scioli there. He was going for second, but he'll settle for a quality third.
I'm here with the new points leader after this one, James Scioli. Finished no worse than 11th so far this season, coming through with a solid third place. What happened there? It seemed like you had Mare right in your grasp, had taken second away from, and then something happened to where all of a sudden you had to fend off Zach Kerr for the podium paying position.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I felt like I had second place pace pretty much the whole race. Just I kind of messed up my last corner in qualifying. It was the difference between third and sixth. So fortunately I had to start sixth, and then yeah, just trying to get around some lap cars there. Garrett did a good job, let me go, and I don't remember who it was. Just kind of entered on the bottom on the inside wall, and half kind of let me go, but kind of expected me to be a little higher. They didn't really make the apex. I thought that when they went to the inside wall, they were just kind of going to back off and give it to me and let us race. So just kind of an unfortunate miscommunication there. Had a big slide, was luckily able to keep it straight, and then had to dodge same lap cars, kind of wrecking in the S's. Was luckily able to stay ahead of him there and get on through, and the tires weren't too bad, and somehow escaped with no damage. So definitely got a little bit more eventful there at the end than I wanted. I did think that I had Sebastian at least in my sights. So it was going to be tough to make the pass with dirty air and everything, but definitely still happy to walk away with a podium with all the chaos there.
Yeah, chaos indeed. And just want to get your initial thoughts on Cup next Monday. I know that we're off for Pro Series until 2 weeks time at Rockingham, but you're currently third in the Cup standings, one of 3 drivers with top 10 finishes in each race. Initial thoughts heading into North Wilkesboro. I know that's a tough short track for a lot of guys, very tight racing, and then the same thing with Rockingham. It could be quite a badass track, but you got to watch your limits. So initial thoughts on both Cup and Pro Series in weeks due time.
Yeah, for Cup, I think it's going to be pretty sketchy. I think it's slated to be another hot track, so the Cup setup there, even on a colder track, is already pretty sketchy with how it handles the bumps and just the looseness on exit. And it's so much harder to save than these cars. You know, these cars you can really get up on the right rear and kind of drive them off the corner. The Cup cars, it really wants to be planted. So definitely going to be a little sketchy there. Not my best track, so probably going to have to put in some laps to keep the top 10 streak alive there. I know I've had pretty crazy consistency to start the season, even with everything that's happened. I definitely can't complain. And then definitely looking forward to Rockingham. I hope that we can get some long green flag runs there. You'll probably be able to see some different lines forming, some comers and goers, a lot of tire wear, which I really like. So yeah, just hoping for kind of some long runs in both of them, to be honest, and just seeing where we shake out and just trying to keep the nose clean like we've done so far this season.
Not getting lost in the sauce at all. The new points leader of the Pro Series, James Skiley, coming home with a solid third place finish. Congrats, James.
Thanks, guys. And first, before I go, I do want to give you guys a shout out for taking over the broadcasting this season. You guys do a great job. We really appreciate you capturing these. Big shout out to the admin team as well. You know, taking some time out of their week, out of their nights to help us out, let us race here, keep the league clean. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed. Huge shout out to 609 Motorsports. I know Jake got 6th, and I think Connor ended up in 10th. So solid runs for us. Thanks to Matt Liveries for the paint scheme and Simrat Market for being on the car. And hopefully we're in the booth again in the next race.
All right, so that'll wrap things up here. Mr. James Skiley there. Congrats on the third, and that'll wrap things up for our show here today. I almost said Brad because he's stealthing here in the room there, but obviously a good race, Hunter, a quick race, and now we head back to out of the road tracks, and we'll start to see the racing that we usually expect, cautions, and we'll see if these competitors, Marin and Clampitt, can hold their momentum, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, if the Rockingham race will be 56 minutes, that'll be impressive, but I doubt we'll get that. But nonetheless, it's always good to have some road course racing in between. Again, we have another one coming up week 11 for COTA, so that'll be fun. This is kind of a interesting race to keep an eye on those who might be a contender for that. Obviously, Logan Clampitt, Sebastian Marin are going to be a couple of guys. Did not expect Zach Kerr to have the speed that he did. Good finish for Nate Stewart. Looking through, 8 of the top 10 drivers, they started inside the top 10. So track position, very key. Only a couple of guys were able to make their way from deep in the field to the top 10. Mentioned John Forbes Jr. He started back in 21st, finished 9th. And then Connor Horn, all the way back in 29th, drove himself up to 10th. And also got to remember, too, if Zach Nichols doesn't have an EOL, he might have had a better result. He started all the way back in 40th, almost got top 10. He finished 13th. So might be one to watch out for the next time we go to COTA. Again, off week for Rockingham, so take a week off, but for some guys, they'll be back at it Monday night.
All right, yes indeed, so make sure you stay tuned. You'll watch that on Monday night on the IDK Player YouTube channel, and we'll be back with you in 2 weeks time. But we have more racing next week, so make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe here on PTR TV. We'll have some next gen action, but we will be at the Bristol Motor Speedway Sim 500 on Monday night, and we'll have Elbows Out on Wednesday and Red Sox on Thursday. So even without area, we'll still have a busy week. Want you to join us. If you're on Twitch, make sure you like, follow, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff that you do on Twitch. Consider subscribing, get yourself the emotes, earn yourself the points, all of that fun stuff. It's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.